Okay, welcome everyone. We're Quartz Real Estate. My name is Daniel Essler. I'm the site planner.
My name is Matthias. I am the financial analyst.
I'm Sydney, the neighborhood liaison.
I'm Sadie, I'm the marketing director.
I'm Emma, I'm the liaison.
At Quartz Real Estate, our vision is flexible redevelopment defined by and for community that feels as familiar as it is alive. Next slide. This can be really seen in our Central Park, which is located on the Block 1. This park is a large community space that will host biannual arts festivals, live performance, and weekly farmers markets, as well as many other community engagements. And that is located right next to the retail, so that the retailers, who are largely food vendors, have access to outdoor seating, so that they can continue to serve patrons during the pandemic. Behind the retail, we have this large parking lot, which highlights our commitment to making a beautiful space. So we've beautified it with trees, as well as the flexibility of our plan, because it allows us to hold a COVID-19 drive-through testing center, as well as a distribution center for anything else that Elmwood might need. Next slide. Now I'd like to highlight the center of our town, the Four Corners District. This is a pedestrian retail district with ground floor retail located in the York Dry Goods Building and the Phoenix Hotel, which are familiar buildings and anchor our town spirit. These buildings are central community facilities, as well in the York Dry Goods Building, which allows us to engage our residents with those community facilities, as well as the retail surrounding them. I'd like to pass it to Matthias now.
All right, so in our development of Elmwood, our investors and the city will be investing in the community. We have made sure to provide for mixed income groups and to make sure everyone can live here by providing 61 units of overall affordable housing, making up 21% of our 284 units. Additionally, we have provided significant community services, and we believe that the investment in the community is worthwhile, especially due to the COVID pandemic, which has only increased income disparities. Additionally, our investors will be seeing a 13.5% rate of return, and the city will be seeing $1.306 million profit over 10 years. I'd like to pass it on to Sydney.
So we included pop-up skate ramps for the Skate On group, and with our affordable housing, the artists should be able to afford rent, the reason why they wanted rent-free artist studios in the first place. We have included the homeless shelter, and the homeless shelter, along with the 21% affordable housing and 370 entry-level jobs, meet the jobs and justice's most pressing concerns. The affordable housing, along with the entry-level jobs and centralized retail, allow Elmwood senior citizens to age in place, and we meet the concerns they have for wanting a Q-Mart in the first place. Per the Neighborhood Alliance's request, we did not include a Q-Mart. We did preserve the York Dry Goods and Phoenix Hotel historical buildings, and we have lots of parks, public amenities, community facilities, and lots of neighborhood retail to restore Elmwood's charm. Next, I will pass it on to our marketing
I'll take it
director.
over. So we wanted to create a place for retail, community services, and parks, and this can be seen through our parks and retail located on Block 1, so people can visit their local restaurants and then have socially distanced picnics in the park. And we also really wanted to emphasize public and private partnerships that benefit the community and create opportunities for small to mid-sized businesses. So one of these is our mass production in the York Dry Goods Building, which is a public space but has a private business within it, in order for the community to have mass and for businesses to have a place to sell and create goods, which is really important during this time when there's less people going out in the streets and just buying things. And we also have our biannual arts festival, which is partnered with the Con Community Art Studio to create a space for local artists to showcase and sell their creations. And I'll pass it to the city liaison.
As a city liaison, we felt that the city's role was to protect and serve the community. Our plan focused on supporting vulnerable sectors of the population while also seeking equality. So in order to do this, we utilized nonprofits, two to help with the homeless shelter that are placed right next to it, and also another nonprofit called Senior Assistance that helps seniors and serves them during this time of distress. And then we also have a center for the same purpose. So also to adhere to mixed income development, we created a variety of jobs, and we also created a high amount of affordable housing in order to serve everyone and account for job losses due to Corona. On top of this, we included 35,000 square feet in parks because we knew that this was vital to keeping our community safe and healthy. And we also provided social distancing guidelines throughout the park and mass dispensers to keep people safe. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We appreciate it. I'm going to go ahead and transition us. If you would stop, well, maybe you need to share your screen. Let's go ahead and transition into 5 minutes of Q&A. I'm going to, again, keep time.
Yeah, sure. Site planner, real quick. I'm taking a look at your development. You've got all your office buildings located on one side of the development. Where are all those folks going to go eat for lunch, for example? You've got a lot of multifamily, you've got a lot of housing, you've got a lot of office buildings. What happens at lunchtime? Do they need to get in their cars and go somewhere else to eat? I don't see if there's anywhere for them to really go eat.
Yeah, that's a great question. We located them to create a central business district, but they are also very close, like a block away from our central downtown, the Four Corners district, where we have a lot of eateries in and around that area. The mid-rise office retail also is next to that neighborhood retail, which has food and food services for commuters and office workers, as well as we're imagining a flexible parking lot that can allow people to dine out if they brought lunches with trees, because we don't imagine having a high demand for parking.
Okay, so they would have to walk all the way a couple of blocks to
Yes, they would. Yeah.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Councilmember Johnson. Anybody else, any of my other council colleagues have questions for this team?
Yeah, I have a question regarding your vision. I'm not sure that I understand. I'm just a city council person. Explain to me what flexible redevelopment is.
Yeah, absolutely. And is this for me or another member?
I would choose to hear from at least one of you.
Okay, well, maybe I will pass this to our marketing director because I spoke, so to give everyone a chance.
I would love to talk about that. So with our flexible redevelopment, we understand that COVID is only going to last for another year, but we want our plan to be useful for at least the next 10 years, if not beyond, because we see this as a plan that's built for the future as well as now. And so this includes the parks and creating habits now of having the community centers that can then continue forward. So it's about creating a more idealistic community that will serve the people for a very long time. And that's what we really saw in the flexible idea behind our plan.
Thank you.
If we have time for one more, I'd like to ask a question to the financial analyst.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about the trade-offs that you had with regard to the various aspects of the development.
All right, so the two major trade-offs we had to look at were like the revenue for the city and investors when it came to investing so much in our community, which we believe was worth it, partially to just having such good community services and affordable housing brings residents into the district, which brings they bring their market for the goods and services that Elmwood provides. And we also had to look at the trade-off of the Q-Mart versus supermarket. The Q-Mart would have given us somewhat more revenue, but it would have reduced our housing. And we also believed that it did not line up with our vision or the neighborhood demands. So we decided that we were not going to include the Q-Mart. But overall, we think we have addressed the trade-offs we have made are well worth it.
Neighborhood liaison, really quickly. It looks like you completely ignored the old urbanist. Who did you prioritize the most, or who did you prioritize the least, and why?
I don't think we completely ignored the old urbanists because we include a lot of affordable housing, which they wanted so they could age in place for living on fixed incomes. And the reason they wanted the Q-Mart was so they could do all their shopping in one place and so they could get a job should they choose to. But we have provided a lot of entry-level jobs so they do have access to a job should they choose to get one. and we have located all the shopping in a central area. But we did prioritize the Jobs and Justice and the Neighborhood Alliance more so than the Pro Arts and the Skate On groups.
Thank you for that, Sydney. I misspoke. The Elmwood Neighborhood Alliance is who I was trying to refer to. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay, yeah. I can speak on that too. So one of their main concerns was the homeless shelter and the Q-Mart. So we did not include the Q-Mart. And we instead chose to have the supermarket with a lot of neighborhood retail, which they did want. And we moved the homeless shelter a little more out of the way so that we could have a downtown area. And that was a trade-off we made, but we did make Elmwood more pedestrian friendly, so there should be less traffic. And we have preserved most of the historical buildings, and we've created a lot of public facilities. And it's a very community-focused area, and there's organizations to help with homelessness. So our hope is to reduce homelessness through these organizations.
Great. Thank you very much to my council colleagues, and thank you very much to the Quartz team. This is a really great presentation. We're looking.
The sun rises and a new light shines on the Elmwood district. My name is Kamala, and I'm the site planner. We are New Light Development. We envision an Elmwood that shines a new light, merging urban and suburban lifestyles. Let me take you on a tour of Elmwood as we reinvent the burbs. At about now, 8:30 p.m. on a Saturday in Elmwood, we walk onto 9th Avenue. We have our Q-Mart with murals that promote social justice and a variety of retail where residents are welcome to walk down the street and shop as they like. This busy downtown area is exactly what Elmwood needs to reinvent the burbs. Additionally, our retail is accessible for curbside pickup. We have a business district close to the Yard subway station and an isolated neighborhood area where they can enjoy a peaceful morning cup of coffee. Next, we have that town square located right in the heart of Elmwood. On Sundays, a farmer's market following social distancing regulations will take place, creating that close-knit community feel in Elmwood. The parks are also designed to have enough space for peaceful demonstrations. We have the perfect amount of suburban and urban aspects in our new Elmwood, which shines a new light on Elmwood and reinvents the burbs.
Hi, I'm Thamvi and I'm the neighborhood liaison. Our plan appeals to a newer generation of people who will grow alongside the city while still accommodating the existing residents of Elmwood. The choices we made in our plan reflect the commitment to best address the needs of the community while reinventing the burbs. Despite the trade-offs we made with the Q-Mart and the homeless shelter, our plan accounts for the concerns of Elmwood's Neighborhood Alliance. We brought in modern businesses but continued to preserve all 3 historical buildings. Queen Street, Toronto, in the pictures you saw previously, is the perfect example of this balance between older and incoming residents. Who wouldn't love to go thrift shopping with their grandma? Furthermore, we allocated a digital center in our green space to hold events such as bingo nights, drive-in movies, and yoga mornings to appeal to our community. We are confident that these decisions will create an Elmwood that will shine a new light on the integration of urbanization in a suburban town.
My name is Hannah and I'm the city liaison. In light of current events, we have temporarily made the daycare center a helpline center since there have been increased reports of domestic abuse since the pandemic has started, and the community arts center into supply distribution center. Daily outdoor dining will be available with space allocated for the restaurants in the park on Block 4, along with curbside pickups. Testing centers in the YMCA and parks have been provided as well. Hand sanitizer stations and COVID-19 awareness signs will be placed throughout Elmwood. In addition, for the upcoming 2020 elections, the Congressman's office, City Council, and civil liberties defenders will be providing mail-in ballots. As shown in our site plan, we have done our best to reinvent the burbs, incorporating both suburban and urban lifestyles that will indulge the satisfaction of both current and future residents.
My name is Ram and I'm the financial analyst. Our plan targets millennials because they will make up the largest consumers in upcoming years, and they are also rapidly moving to suburbs. We used a variety of factors to incentivize millennials to move into Elmwood. Our amenities rate was 10%, which many studies show are extremely important to millennials. Moreover, we have an affordable housing rate of 33% for townhouses and podium apartments. This is especially important during the crisis, as many people have lost their incomes. Overall, our developer rate of return was 13.7%, and our city revenue was 1.5 million. These numbers show that while our plan is future-centric, we can still provide exceptional short-term earnings. Our plan makes sure Elmwood will be financially sustainable for many years to come and will truly reinvent the burbs.
Hi, I'm Rachel, our marketing director. Here at New Light, we plan to not only revitalize the Elmwood district, but also entirely reinvent the burbs to accommodate a mixed suburban urban lifestyle that's appealing to millennial audiences. We initially had a 2.67-year absorption rate on retail. However, due to strenuous market conditions, we chose to mitigate risks by reducing absorption to a 2.29-year rate, ensuring that we weren't overbuilt on retail. In our 5th and 2nd blocks, we've created a centralized business center, making our district perfect for potential tenants. Overall, this plan is self-sustaining as it invites young audiences who will grow within our city. Aside from the lucrative luxury condo, our town is also fully absorbed in the 3-year market target. Our Elmwood plan will shine a new light on how people envision the burbs, making it the plan you're looking for.
Excellent. Thank you to the New Light team. It's a really great, thorough presentation. Do any of my colleagues on council have any questions for the New Light team?
Sure.
Councilor Johnson.
Site planner or liaison. Obviously, there is no homeless shelter. You guys decided to move that. What do you say to the folks that say there's a conflict of your message of new inclusiveness when you remove the homeless shelter somewhere else? Does your new vision come at the expense of the most vulnerable?
I think there's a little clarification that I want to make. We did not completely remove the homeless shelter. The Phoenix Hotel will be taking the place of the homeless shelter, as we did want to preserve that historical building, and that will be our homeless shelter.
What programs did you envision for the folks that are in the homeless shelter to kind of, get back on their feet and put them in a better situation?
Absolutely. So the Q-Mart right next to the homeless shelter has offers a lot of low entry-level jobs that don't require skill. And this would really help the homeless get one of those jobs that don't require skill and slowly get back on their feet with the money they make. So because this would be a daytime job, the homeless shelter would run during the night, specifically from around 4 p.m. to 9 a.m. And this would really help them gain that, get right back on their feet and be integrated back into society.
Thank you very much.
I have a question for the financial analyst.
Yeah,
so trying to understand, you have 33% affordable housing, and you're able to make the financial return. So explain to me how you did that, because that's the highest I've ever seen in this effort. So can I get an explanation how that works?
When we came into this, we knew we wanted a lot of affordable housing because that was a clear message for us. So we decided to put in 2 condos because those made a lot of money for both the profit and revenue. And since we had those condos, we were able to put in a lot of affordable housing because we already had the needed profit and the needed city revenue. So it can truly be contributed to the luxury condos.
Okay. That's all I have.
What did you guys leave out that you could have added, financial planner?
Obviously, we do have a little above what the city asked and what the developer asked. And we did this on purpose because we figured with this extra money and expendable cash, the city could spend money on, like we said, hand sanitizer stations, posters, things that promote public health, because we can't physically do that. So we want to give the city these tiny bit extra funds so they can promote public health and make sure everybody in Elmwood is safe. And per developer profit, we decided to have a little more just so the developers were certain they would make profit on this and would invest in this project.
Thank you.
For the neighborhood liaison, what trade-offs, I mean, what groups were you having the most trouble trying to accommodate in your site plan here?
Although it was challenging to accommodate for the neighborhood alliance, I believe that once we try to see where our target market, like the newer residents and where the neighborhood alliance kind of aligned, it was a lot easier for us to develop our town and vision statement.
Great. Thank you so much to Quartz Development for this thorough presentation, really informative.
New Light.
Oh, sorry, to New Light Development.
New Light.
Right. New Light. Sorry.
Thank you very much, New Life.
Hey, I apologize for the delay. Hi, everyone. I'm Sadie. I'm the site planner of TAM Developments, and I'm here to start off our proposal. First, I'd like to say thank you all for being here to consider our vision for Elmwood, one which we promise to cater to all of its citizens. Our Elmwood's ability to adapt to life during a pandemic while keeping its citizens healthy, happy, and employed is our #1 priority. We promise to create an Elmwood that is sustainable, resilient, and inclusive. The center of our town has a mix of parks, stores, and offices aimed toward creating an environment that's open and welcoming in a time when so much is closed off. The large park area located on Block 4 is the main hub, as it can be used for farmers markets, movie nights, protests, as well as just everyday life while keeping people properly distanced. The other parks are adjacent to retail to help restaurants that require outdoor seating create an atmosphere that is communal and lively. As we know, the amenities of major cities make the cost of living go way up. To counter this, our condos, podiums, townhouses, both affordable and at market rate, makes our Elmwood an inclusive place accessible to everyone. Elmwood's proximity to the business district of Yorktown, paired with the local office and retail spaces within our neighborhood, makes it ideal for anyone looking for a working environment, while the nearby schools, parks, and single-family homes makes this area comfortable for families as well. Each small subsection of our neighborhood blends with each other to make a functional and cohesive place that can sustain itself through difficult times. We provide locations and services that make the neighborhood fun, but we also make sure to inspire health in the community above all else. Our balance of retail and health and safety services ensures that citizens can remain conscious of distancing rules while enjoying time in Elmwood. Though mainly, we hope to make Elmwood a place where everyone is safe and welcome, no matter the circumstances.
Good afternoon, City Council. My name is Kavi Delacia, and I am TAM Development's financial analyst. I'm so excited to be here with you guys today and share our vision of Elmwood. So as you can tell by our financial model, our Elmwood produces a 14% rate of return to the developer and 1.5 million city 10-year net revenue. As you can tell, these numbers are significantly higher than those requested by the city in the RFP. So given the high-risk nature of this project, this will enable us to incentivize investors, as well as our high city return will allow us to work with the City Council, you guys, and accommodate your requests and feedback. So one of the main choices that we made when looking at our build was our choice to demolish Victorian Row. And this was very strategic to benefit not just the citizens of Elmwood, but also the city and developers. Looking at our financial model, it cost $7 million to rehabilitate Victorian Row into office and retail. And so by demolishing it, our choice actually led to $500,000 more in revenue for the city and $2 million more in developer profit. Another major decision we were tasked with was choosing to put a supermarket in place of a Q-Mart. By choosing a supermarket, we were able to actually include more office and retail units, increasing developer profit by over $700,000. And we really wanted to ensure that this was not only the best choice for our developers and city, but for our community. So I looked out to external research, and as you can see in our research slide, one of those reports that I found was a case study in Chicago that analyzed the impact of a Walmart on a local business. And they actually found that Walmarts absorb retail from local stores without actually expanding the market. And therefore, this could potentially discourage local businesses from being attracted to Elmwood, which is the adverse effect of what we are trying to do. And then we also really wanted to ensure that the supermarket was the best decision for our community. So I looked at studies that researched supermarkets the same size as ours in Elmwood. And these studies found that the The supermarket not only spurs economic activity in the town, it also attracts other retailers, increases tax revenue, and interestingly actually increases real estate and home values nearby, thereby making our neighborhood and community more desirable.
I'm Julia, and I'm the marketing director. And as marketing director, my goal was to minimize blight and ensure that the placement of office, retail, and housing was mutually beneficial to one another. We've done that by creating a revitalized Main Street on 9th, which I visualized in the drawing to the right. With target tenants such as restaurants, cafes, delis, and clothing outfitters, it was important that our layout could support these local merchants throughout the coronavirus pandemic. That's why we've created 15,000 square feet of park space between blocks 1 and 2 to allow for outdoor seating and less crowding on the street for curbside pickup. In addition, the parking layout allows access to retail from 8th Avenue and 10th Avenue, allowing us to shut off part of 9th Avenue for even more space to eat and shop, if necessary. Our office spaces on blocks 1 and 2 are desirably placed close to the Yart Center and the freeway for the commuters. On breaks, office workers can enjoy food in the park from the adjacent cafes and delis. The low-rise on block 5 is situated adjacent to the homeless shelter to provide support with 3 different nonprofits. When the shelter closes at 9 a.m., its residents can receive meals at the food bank. The Job Assistance Center will allow them to find available entry-level jobs, of which our plan introduces hundreds of. Since so many of our homeless are veterans, we also propose a veteran support center. Our placement of podium apartments, townhouses, and a luxury condo will draw new families of all socioeconomic backgrounds to Elmwood, while providing enough affordable housing to allow our lifetime residents to age in place. Low-income families can enjoy podium apartments with garden views, proximity to jobs and retail, and more depending on the neighborhood. We also have townhomes targeting moderate income families situated adjacent to a church and close to Elmwood's magnet schools and largest park. With our use allocation, we are confident that we have created an Elmwood that current and prospective residents will both appreciate and patronize.
Hi, I'm Carly. I'm the neighborhood liaison. Our vision for Elmwood is inclusive and caters to the need of the community. To do so, we've made decisions to ensure all of the current residents of Elmwood will be pleased with our revitalization. To appeal to the old urbanists and jobs and justice, we have a 19% affordable housing rate and over 300 new entry-level jobs. Though we do not have a designated skate park for skate on, portable ramps are available to be used in our other park locations. As for the Neighborhood Alliance, we are going to keep both Yorktown Dry Goods and the Phoenix Hotel in order to preserve the historic elements of Elmwood, and we decided against the Q-Mart. The Grace Memorial Church will be happy to know that we decided to add the homeless shelter into our design because it will offer assistance to the struggling community. To soothe the fears of the Neighborhood Alliance that a homeless shelter would increase crime rates, I would just like to mention that a Simon Fraser University study found that crime rates decrease when a homeless shelter is put in place. To make this true in Elmwood, the Grace Memorial Church-run homeless shelter and nearby nonprofits will provide them with what they need to avoid turning to crime. For the Pro Art Group, we will put in the artist studios, offer festivals in our parks to support local artists, and also commission artists to paint murals on the supermarket. Finally, an important movement that is gaining momentum is Black Lives Matter. To support this, we have provided space for them to hold peaceful demonstration and have elected not to add a police substation in York Dry Goods. Instead, we put in a juvenile offender counseling and a drug treatment center, which will keep people safe without adding to the struggles of the movement. Our inclusive plan will appease the neighborhood groups of Yorktown and create an environment in which all residents can peacefully coexist.
Hi, I'm Sammy, TAM Development City Liaison. When redesigning Elmwood, I, as the city liaison, lobbied for the city's primary goals. Our design achieves all these goals, though we focused mainly on the goals highlighted in the new request to respond to the COVID-19 pandemic. Through our retail, community facilities, and offices, we have created 1,381 jobs for employees of varying skill levels. Additionally, to accommodate the housing needs of residents of all incomes, we have provided 49 units of affordable housing, along with a luxury condo on Block 3 for those with a high income that prefer nicer housing.
In their free time, residents have many community facilities and amenities available to their use. There is a large 30,000 square foot park located in the central focus with a community garden where residents of all generations can spend their time. The York Dry Goods building includes 10,000 square feet of artist studios and a technology center for those who want to spend their free time more creatively. Both of these facilities will be easily adaptable to the pandemic. The artist studios will be converted into a PPE distribution center and a housing unit for any first responders that are needed to care for sick patients. And the tech center will loan out their devices so residents can connect with each other virtually, which is so important during the pandemic. Finally, to help the retail owners remain in business with the strict 50% indoor occupancy policy, we have strategically placed parks that border these retail buildings. Along with these parks, we'll be placing a temporary closure on the southern block of 9th Avenue to give residents more space to be socially distant. We have specially designed blocks 1 and 2 to support this closure, including having parking entrances on 8th and 10th Avenue. The entirety of our build has been designed to accommodate the challenges of COVID-19 and to remain an inclusive, sustainable, and resilient place to live once those challenges have passed. Thank you for your consideration of our proposal.
Thank you very much, TAM Development. Let's start off with the financial analyst.
Yeah, absolutely.
You mentioned at the beginning of your presentation that your aim was to provide enhanced returns for the developer, and while simultaneously making sure that you're able to provide the city with what they need. You said that because it's a higher risk. Talk to me about why you thought it was higher risk, and how did you, as a team, think through the risk-reward scenario as you put this together?
Yeah, absolutely. So this project in general, I guess the whole idea of revitalizing Elmwood is a mixed use infill project. So therefore we're talking about like rehabilitating different buildings and kind of coming in and revitalizing the whole city. So therefore I think it, to investors from the outside, it is very high risk because there is a great chance that some people's plans could not execute. So therefore, that's why we made it one of our priorities to ensure that we could attract and incentivize investors into our project.
Okay, so you thought it was worth the risk over the safety of just doing something that you thought would be pretty boilerplate, in other words, correct?
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
I have a question for, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Okay, I have a question for the site planner. You know, we as here at the City Council, we see so many proposals, but not often do we see the placement of the shelter where it is. Can you talk us through why you decided to place the shelter where you did?
We decided to place the shelter on block 5, I believe. I don't have the plan in front of me. I'm pretty sure that's block 5 because it's located farther from the neighborhood because, you know, to many neighborhoods, it is seen as a blighting influence. So to cater to them, we placed it a little bit farther, and we have it next to the YMCA because the YMCA is known for offering community resource centers that offer emergency food pantries, emergency car repairs, holiday food distribution, and a few other services. Further, in that low rise right next to it, we have a number of nonprofits that they're specified in that block to help with help people get help with job placements, to make the shelter not a place to store people, but as a transitional place to help people who are in it leave eventually.
So then my follow-up question would be for the marketing director then, with LR, the low rise number 2 adjacent to the shelter, how easy is it going to be to sell that office space to the for-profit entities?
So this office space is actually made up entirely of nonprofit organizations, which may seem like a risk, but our developer profit is already well above the margin, so we are willing to take this risk.
Excellent, thank you.
I have a question for the site planner. Can you tell me, there's a couple things, and I'm glad you got the map up there. I'm gonna annotate this. So how do I access this parking lot? Can you tell, so you've got the existing, or excuse me, you've got this office building parking garage here, you've got a surface lot, you've got another surface lot. How do I access that surface parking lot?
Can it not be accessed through the mid-rise parking? Is it?
Well, I think it would depend if you intend to develop all
Or
of
there's,
these.
oh wait, aren't there alleyways that can
Okay.
go from between the retail or from between like the office and retail that can go through too?
Council, that's correct. There's an alley to access surface parking behind retail.
Okay.
Right.
All right. Great. Thank you for clarifying that. The other question that I had is here, where is the front door and the back door of the supermarket? Can you just show me, you've got surface parking there. Is that the entrance here to the south side?
We prefer to have the front door on 9th Avenue because that way the parking lot adjacent to it, while it's parking mostly for retail, if things need to be loaded into the supermarket, they can park back there rather than on the main road to load in the morning.
Okay, so you're saying this is the
No, so
loading
it's
area
like,
here?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I want to be cognizant of the adjacent development here. So I have constituents that live in these multifamily apartments that back up to that. So I just want to be clear that if we choose your development, that they are going to, as these deliveries occur early in the morning, I just want to be clear that I can explain to them that it's okay that those things are happening and potentially disrupting them early in the morning.
Yeah.
Is that something that you
The other
consider?
alternative is that, I mean, if the thing is, if it's in the front, we're trying to market 9th Avenue as the main place to walk. And if that's like the back door, it's going to be really ugly. If that's just like a garage or something, because that is the main street, that's going to be closed off to hold events.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Thank
City
you.
liaison.
Mm-hmm.
You spoke about the decision, which is a big decision, to not have police officers, right? Now, what do you say to some of our constituents who may say that there's no way that we can live somewhere or office somewhere or have a development where there's no police officers? How do you answer that question?
So we decided to remove the police substation because of all the current protests that have been going on against police brutality. And we've noticed, as in San Francisco, they've actually abolished the police force that exists in San Francisco, and they've created a group of trained professionals that are helping with more of like the humanitarian aspect of the policing rather than carrying guns and just creating more violence. So we kind of wanted to just take away this this idea of a police station that is very cookie cutter, and it's having a police station kind of continues this idea that it's okay to have this police violence. So we'd hope that there could be other law enforcement that would not operate in the same ways that a police facility would, a police substation would.
If I may also add, it's also important to view Elmwood in the context of the larger city of Yorktown. And so by removing the police substation, we are not removing, there's still police that can come and address violence and any crime. So there is still a police, there's potential.
Thank you very much for that explanation. How about neighborhood liaison?
Mm-hmm.
Who did you prioritize the most, and who did you prioritize the least out of our neighborhood groups?
So for our groups, I would say the most powerful group would be the Neighborhood Alliance, because they're, I think, the biggest group. And I tried to prioritize them as much as I could. I think the only need that I didn't meet for them was the homeless shelter, because I decided that a homeless shelter, even though that they didn't want one, it's not having one would cause more problems and in the long run make them unhappy, because it would, as I said in my speech, it would actually cause more crime. And the reason they don't want a homeless shelter is because they are trying to avoid crime. And I also tried to prioritize the old urbanists, because they are, while not a huge group, they are the main voting body. So the only thing that I didn't meet, the only need for them that I didn't meet was a Q-Mart. But I I gave them a supermarket, and I gave them a lot of affordable housing and jobs at multiple levels to try to make up for that. And the group that I think I prioritized the least was Skate On, because they don't have as much power in the community, and I think they don't necessarily need a skate park if we can provide them, like I said, open space with temporary ramps so they still can skate. But I think other than that, all the groups had needs met.
Thank you very much.
Maybe then I'll end with the last question. We've got 1 minute left. So sustainability is tremendously important to me, and I see that it's one of the pillars in your vision statement. I see parks and such as part of your site plan. Can you please talk to me a bit about how else you're incorporating sustainability into this community? And this would go to the marketing director.
Yeah, of course. So our vision of Elmwood included the bike paths that you see in this photo that I drew. And we modeled our city based on European cities like Helsinki. And these cities are mainly walkable, so there's not that much traffic. So we tried to make Elmwood as walkable as possible, which would decrease carbon emissions. And we also included all of that open space, of course. And in place of the Q-Mart rooftop garden, we elected to include a garden in the Central Park. All of these things will help our vision of sustainability for Elmwood.
Excellent, thank you.
Well, excellent job, TAM Development. Once again, thank you guys for all of your hard work. I thought you all did a fantastic job. So we appreciate you. Any closing thoughts, council members?
Exceptional job. Very, very thorough presentation. Who put the presentation together, just out of curiosity? Was it a joint effort? Very, very well done. Exceptional.
So the design was me, but it was everyone made their own slides.
Okay, well, very, very well done.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, TAM Development.
Thank you so much.
Well, I think we're going to hand it over to our mayor. Our city council just spent some time deliberating, and it was real tough. So what we're going to do now, I'm going to hand it over to the mayor of Yorktown, Just Zimbabwe, and she's going to close this out for us.
Yeah, we wanted to take a few minutes to go through each presentation because we really appreciate it. And again, we couldn't build the future of the city of Yorktown without the participation of these investors and developers and designers that are all here today. So we wanted to take a couple minutes to go through each presentation in order to give you a little bit of feedback, and then we'll announce the winners and runners up for our development site. So maybe if I can ask my colleagues on council to give us some feedback. Let's just go in the order that we had them presented. So first we had Quartz. Was that the first team we had present? My colleagues want to give a little feedback to the Quartz team.
You bet. First of all, thank you so much for your preparation. Each of the teams was strong in your preparation. It was clear. Quartz, you guys were exceptional. You kicked it off and put the bar real high when you introduced your team, and then each of your team members played the role. You got through the timing exactly right, and it looked very balanced from our perspective as to each person's role. And yet when we went to questions, it was clear that each of you had a real strong understanding of the entire program and plan.
Thank you. We really appreciate that feedback. Thank you.
Thank you.
And how about the little bit of feedback for the team from New Light? I think is what we heard from next.
Yes, I appreciate your time and effort. You guys put a really very interesting proposal together. Really thought it was creative, innovative, thoughtful, a little unusual in that the affordable housing piece was, wow, that was something else. That was different and creative, and how you're able to accommodate the needs of the community to make that happen. That says a lot about your program. So I thought it was very interesting and well done. Thank you.
Great.
One of the words we heard when we were talking about your presentation was energy. If you weigh energy, you guys were fired up. As late as it is on the East Coast, y'all are fired up. Thank you.
The burbs. Well done.
Great. And then a little bit of feedback for the third team we had present this evening, TAM Development. Anybody?
Yeah, sure. Once again, just as a carryover from what everybody else said, congratulations to all of you. While your friends are scrolling through their Twitter feeds or whatever they're doing tonight, you're here doing something that's really going to move the needle, not only for yourself, but for your community and your cities as you move forward. Tam, again, I've provided feedback, but you guys have done an unbelievable job with your presentation. The thing that I like the most about what you guys did, I like the risk that you took with your development. You had a lot of elements to your development that, quite frankly, a lot of people wouldn't take. A lot of chances that folks wouldn't take. Not only did you take those risks, but you were able to quantify those risks and justify those risks with facts, right? Again, the diversity of thought that you guys had with your program, all of you were well versed in what you had to do for each one of your positions. I thought it was second to none. So once again, great job, all of you teams. Quartz, New Life, great job. This was a tough call for us. This is and across the board, this is what we heard. This is the best we've ever seen across the board.
No question about it. No question.
So with that, I'll turn it back over to the mayor to close this out.
Great, excellent. Thank you, council members. Yeah, and again, thank you to all the teams. These are really phenomenal proposals. We regret that we only have one site to dispose of at this evening's meetings, but we look forward to, we hope that you continue to be interested in Yorktown, because we know even to the other teams, two teams that don't, and we don't end up working with in this neighborhood, in the Elmwood neighborhood, we'll have other sites and we'd love to work with you. All right, so in the second runner-up position, so third place, we have the team from New Light Development. Thank you again, really great presentation. Thank you for your ideas. In the first runner-up position, we have the team from Quartz Development. Thank you very much.
Thank you all.
Great presentation. And so tonight we would like to award the proposal to the team from TAM Development. So thank you all for your time and energy. And can we unmute everybody so we can hear a little bit of the cacophony of everybody?
Congratulations.
Taking a deep breath and applauding. And
Congratulations. Well,